song that I have stuck in my head is what's it called? Have you guys ever heard you know Snuffy, the VTuber? She has a theme song made by MetaRoom, and it's so addicting to listen to. I really like the music MetaRoom is saying. Oh, well, hello. It's a banger. It gets stuck in my head all the time. All right. So. Oh yeah. I'm here to melt your brain cells. I found that it's very satisfying to listen to this song when studying. So you guys get to be stuck with that. I'll turn it down a little. I get to groove, but so. Welcome. Hello? Hello. Oh yeah. So, in my many attempts, sorry, just moving something. In my many attempts of making myself larger in this program, so I could actually reach the board, my many attempts have been unsuccessful. I wish I could say otherwise, but I guess for today, I'm going to be small. Just today. So, I'm gonna zoom in over here. Oh, hello. I feel so close. Alright. So, I'm gonna have the pleasure instead to, I guess kind of write on the wall, if that's anything. Also, hi! This is my first time using this, program on stream. I do have something funny and silly planned for later, but that's for later. You'll see it when it comes. Let me look at something. Okay. I'm like trying to look over. Alright. So, hello. Hi, how's it going? Today, I think I have a bunch of music playing and it's distracting me really bad. Very adorable in this form? Thank you. I'm quite goblin in this form. Today, bam! Hello! Today, we're going to, we're gonna learn about, the lungs. Yes, lungs. It's been a bit since I've done, a biology stream. So, mind me if I'm rusty on my lecturing skills. Probably not the clearest, but I'll try to make it as comprehensible as possible. Thingy movement. Yes, thingy movement. I'm using my web camera. I like reach over. But, yes. You see limited thingy movement. And I get to smile and wave and everything. I can do emotes now, which is pretty crazy. What else? Yeah, I can do a whole bunch of silly emotes now. It's great. It's pretty great. It's good for when I need to react to when people ask me questions. I'm kidding, but feel free to ask questions if you want. I can answer it as much as I can, but can't say that I'm perfect. My voice is also a little strained. Oh, where am I going? Oh, okay. Well, I was going over there. Sorry. That also might be why my voice is a little strained, teleporting, but I accidentally dragged my cup in front of my camera and it freaked out. So, but this is a little strain from talking a lot during Tia's stream. So I hope I will try my hardest. I will try my bestest to provide the soundest and most comprehensible lecture I can. I can't promise I'm gonna be perfect though, but I will try my hardest. Yeah, I'm gonna do my bestest. So, basically, I don't know how much thingy movement will be a help. Like, the most I can do is possibly try to illustrate things by waving my fingers around and being like, the circle, the square, the square hole. So, I'll try to use that to my advantage. But, otherwise, yeah. We'll see. If it gets too much of a hassle using this, I'll just have the face tracky stuff only. And hopefully I'll see if I can either get more trackers or some Steam controller thingies. Whatever they're called, I forget. God, you can. It's so expressive and it scares me. I can turn so far. Whoa. I can turn all the way over here. I can look around. Wow! That's amazing. Technology is great. Yeah. Okay. So. For today, we're talking about the respiratory system. Respiratory. That is let me see if I can get this on screen. Scribble this away. That is me. What color pen should we use today? What's this look like? What's that look like? That looks pretty nice. But can we get like a pink, perhaps? There's so much stuff on my desk. Is that... How does that look? Yeah. Wow! Amazing. It looks amazing. That's what it looks like. Okay. So. Such a good model, thank you. I'm a huge fan of it too. I like that it has. I can do a lot of emotes. I even found a way to make my own emotes, which is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool, at least. Like I can wait. See, I can do like a subtle little happy look. Happy. And then sorry, I can I think, where is it? I can still do my little sad emote and my disappointed emote. It's pretty great. It's just a good. It's nice. This system, the tracky stuff is also really nice too. Where is this? This is. I don't even know what this is bound to, if I'm honest. Wait, let me see. Can I like... This is my sad mode. Oh. Can I... yeah, there's this! It's, it's a little goofy. There's also... It's pretty great. I'm having a field day. Sorry, I'm just having a field day testing these. But anyways. Okay. So. Lungs. Let me get my notes out so I can follow through. Alright. Let me look. There's like a slight hue on the side and it's annoying me. Get out of here. Wait. Alt. Drag. There! Okay, perfect! Oh wait, it's at the top too, goddammit. Oh, drag. Okay, there, now we're good. Alright. It's time to learn, yeah. Okay, so you see my little cursor here? I'm gonna be drawing in the air. Amazing like that. So, practically, we're gonna be talking about the lungs and the respiratory system. So lungs. Lungs. Is that legible by any chance? Can you actually read that? Okay, yeah, it's legible. Okay. Lungs slash respiratory. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what can I talk about first? Okay. So, to do a general overview of what happens during the respiratory system, well, there's four main functions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1 is it's stuff between atmosphere and oh god, I already ran out of space. It's over for me. Atmosphere and the blood. Yep. Right. Okay. Let me just like. Oh god. Okay, wait. I got this. Don't worry. There. See, and then boom. Wow. Oh my god. I'm a genius. Genius Suri strikes again. Okay. This is it also manages your pH levels. Why? Because of CO2. Why? Because of hydrogen. That's what pH is. It's hydrogen in your body. What else? Protection from pathogens. Pathogens are bad. They make you sicky. Being sicky is not good. No being sicky. Sicky is bad. So don't be sicky. Okay. What else? Lastly, last but not least. It's what I'm doing right now. Talking. How's it going? It's going good. Thank you for asking. So, it does those things. So, 4 things. Regulation of like exchange of gases. So how does oxygen enter the body and how does CO2 leave the body? 2. pH. pH is very important. You guys heard of acidosis? When you like exercise too much and stuff like that? Without enough oxygen and whatnot? That's what that is. Acid, pH, acid, bases, acidosis. pH low. Okay. 3. Protect. It protects. Why do you think you cough phlegm sometimes? And why do you think you need to blow your nose sometimes? And all that. All the gross stuff, respiratory system's protecting you. Unfortunately, that's how it works. 4. Exactly that. Still, that's what your respiratory system does. Now, a couple concepts that we should quickly cover before we get started talking about all the fancy stuff is that air moves in something called bulk flow. Why does air move like this? And this is a generalization again. There's anytime I say something and someone goes, there's actually a completely different thing. You know, like specifically this gas moves in this way. And I'm like, okay. People who know the topic extremely well will understand that. but people who are new to this topic won't, so there's no point of talking about that. So we're going to consider air as moving in terms of bulk flow. Why does it do that? It's because it's a liquid. Or, not a liquid, but it's a fluid, is the term I'm supposed to use. It's a fluid. Air is fluid. Air. Air is fluid. You know what else is fluid? Liquid. Liquid is also fluid. So liquid is fluid. Air is fluid. It's great. So, why do we need to know this concept? Why is this important? Bulk flow? What is a bulk flow? You should know that there's 3 main things that are important for this. Number 1 is that we move from high pressure to low pressure. So, high pressure to low pressure. What does that mean? If I have a trillion gazillion... Have you ever seen Gmod before? Have you ever been in like a Gmod server and then spawned 8 trillion things in like a container? It like, you know, a trillion things in a container. And then you like compress it really hard and you just put a billion things in here. Okay, so what's gonna happen in Gmod? Because Gmod has physics. It has physics, which is what we're talking about, bulk flow and fluids. What happens when you contain all those things in a very small space? A lot of pressure builds up and it explodes, right? Boom! It explodes. Why is it doing that? Why is it exploding? Well, technically, the air around it has a lot more space, right? It's not as contained as all these little orbulars in here. What are all those orbulars doing? So what's gonna do? It's gonna move from high pressure, which is inside here, to low pressure, which is outside here. So it explodes, and uh-oh, my Gmod server crashes. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm scratching my head. Okay. Number 2. How do we establish this? How do we establish where is high pressure and where is low pressure? Muscles. This is exactly how the heart moves blood in the body. See? The heart. How does the heart move blood from inside it to the rest of your body? We talked about this last time. How does it do it? Well, the heart contracts, and because it's contracting, it's doing the Gmod blob, but with your blood. And because it's doing the Gmod blob, what is it gonna do? It's gonna leave the heart and it's gonna go into your veins. Well, I should say arteries and stuff like that. But yeah, I should say arteries. But anyways, it's gonna leave, and it's gonna go to low pressure, which is the rest of your body, in comparison to it. Yes, right? Contracts muscles. Muscles cause the pressure gradient to happen. And lastly, resistance is an important concept to understand. Which means, well, obviously you probably know that friction exists. So, how does friction exist inside the circuit of the respiratory system and as well as the blood system? Usually this is mostly controlled by the diameter of the circuit. This looks like a cross sign or whatever, like a don't pass, but this is like circle, right? And the diameter is the distance across circle. If you remember, if you've ever seen a diagram of the lungs, it kind of looks like this, right? And then you have this. And then you have like a whole bunch of branches here. Well, guess what? That's a circle. The circle! This circle! Oh my god, look at that! Whoa! That's crazy! That's crazy! Look at that thing! So, 3 important concepts. 1. Bulk flow and fluid moves from high pressure to low pressure. 2. What causes the high pressure? For the gradient to happen is the muscles. There's a muscle that's going to contract. For the body, it's mostly the diaphragm for respiratory system. For the cardiac system and whatnot, it's the heart, right? Cardiovascular. Heart. But here, it's going to be our diaphragm. Lastly, resistance. What causes air to be difficult to move. Is resistance. The oxygen goes in the bronchioles. Yes, it goes from the trachea to the bronchi to the bronchioles to the alveoli, but it ends in the alveoli. But we're getting to that. Just wait. Wait. Breather. Breather. Spoilers. Spoilers on the respiratory system. Come on. Okay. Another thing that we need to establish. Breather. So, a couple other things we need to establish. There are 4. Wow, the magic number today is 4. There are 4 systems in which takes place in the respiratory system. One is called ventilation. Vent. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I'm containing myself right now. Shun. Okay, we have ventilation, right? So. Okay. This is considered the first exchange. It's hard to write this in numbers as well because there's like... I'll do this and then I'm gonna write it like... I'm gonna write this here. So... 2 and then 3. The reason why I'm writing these numbers will make sense later. But, okay. So ventilation. And we have lung. 2. Blood. Blood. I keep running out of space. I should make my markers smaller. We have transportation. Transport. And then we have blood. To cell. Right? Okay. So, what happens here? So first, ventilation is from the atmosphere to your lungs. Yeah. So atmosphere to lungs. Now, then we have obviously lung to blood. So then we go over and we put it in the blood. We put whatever we collect into the blood. Right? And after that, what happens is that we move that blood throughout the body. This is practically what's happening here. And then lastly, that blood drops off its little oxygen that it's probably carrying. And he gives it to the cell. Oxygen. Yay, oxygen. O2. That's such a big marker. Oh my god. O2. There you go. He has oxygen. O2. He hugs the oxygen. He brings the oxygen and he shares the oxygen. You take a good shot, thank you! I tried my hardest, I'm not really good. But, okay. So yes, we break it down into this. Now what are these blue numbers I wrote like 2 seconds ago? What is the point of this? These represent when exchange actually happens. Transport does not count as an exchange because it's just something moving. So we have 1, ventilation, which is breathe. Breathe oxygen. Oxygen go in the lungs. 2, lungs to blood. We give oxygen to the blood. And the third transportation, or the third exchange, is we give oxygen to the cell. Right? So it's a cascade. I need to pee. Go pee. We'll talk about the renal system next. Actually, probably after the circuit or after the respiratory system. I'll probably talk about the renal system. Okay. So now that we know this, our center of focus is likely going to be this ventilation. So how does this maybe like a bit of lungs to blood. So it's gonna be our main focus is gonna be here, and if we can't get to it, we'll talk about a bit about this. But our main focus is the 2 exchanges up here. Transportation is literally just the cardiac system. Cardiac, right? So that's why we don't really talk about this, because it's an entirely different system. Okay, good. We got the basics down, right? Alright, now it's time to talk about anatomy. I'm gonna do my best to draw like the prettiest picture you've ever seen in your life about the body. If you remember from when Echo did a silly little game show with Mita and I, they talked about the respiratory system, and she said that there were, what, 7 or 6? What's it called? 7 or 6, like, sections of the respiratory system, or like parts of the respiratory system, and then she's comparing it to Pokemon trainers. That's practically correct. Although sometimes people don't like. I don't consider the mouth part of the respiratory system because it's connected to the nose airways, anyways. But yeah. Okay. So how can I? This is a little strange. Okay, there. I can probably draw it like this, and then we can have like there. Because obviously there's one system to get into the body from the mouth, which is, you know, right here, which is our silly little pharynx over here, and then it goes either to the esophagus or it goes down into the lungs. Okay, whew. This is gonna be difficult to draw, but I'm just gonna okay. What a weird dinosaur. He's a silly little guy, isn't he? And then I'm gonna put an orb here. Why are these orbs here? Don't worry, you'll realize. They're not bad orbs. They're good orbs. Okay. Okay. So you run any percent drawing the lungs? Okay. Just a minor setback. It's okay. Okay. How's that look? Is that looking pretty good? Is that looking pretty spicy? I'll move it over slightly to the side so it doesn't cover me as much. Okay. Alright. Let me explain. This is where the nose is. This is the mouth. That's the chin. And then he's a very small head. But don't worry. Alright. So right here, kind of where your like nose cavity. This is like where the nose cavity is. So let me just draw this. So you know, I'm gonna draw it in blue so you know that it's not actually part of the like respiratory system, like a major part of the respiratory system. Well, there's your nose cavity. This is called the pharynx. I've spelled it wrong. Pharynx. Pharynx. You have something called your like over here is your larynx. Larynx. I'm trying to say it. I'm trying my hardest. Okay. Anyways, over here is your trachea. Trachea. Right. Here is the... What is it? This is your left bronchus. Left. Well, actually, this would technically be your right, because I'm drawing this facing the person, so right. I'm just gonna write bronchus so you know what it is. I'm not gonna write the designations, but I'll write bronchus. Okay. This is also called the airway, if you want to call it that, airway. And this is obviously the lung. Lung is kind of used as a general term because there's a lot going on inside of it, but yes. The larynx. Oops. Wait, here. This is also called the voice box. If you want to know like the other terms people like, to use. This is the voice box. The trachea is also called the windpipe. Wind... Oh, I should write it like this. Windpipe. And the pharynx is also called the throat. Lol. Ha ha ha, smile. Alright. So, we have all our designations. This is a very poor diagram. Why does this matter at all? It's more so if you want to know where the resistance in the body is. Like, the highest resistance is probably like, it's mostly your trachea and your bronchus. So these two right here are usually your highest areas of resistance in the respiratory system. And then all the way down here is your alveoli. He's an important guy. He's like a little ball at the end of the little tubes. Because your lungs are practically like tubes. This is the major tube over here, right? And it goes like this. There's the major tube and then it splits. And then that's what your bronchus is. And then the bronchus splits up again. And it splits up again, because this is called like the primary bronchus. And it keeps splitting over and over and over again into this little network of splits and splits and splits. Eventually, it starts losing something called cartilage. You know, like the stuff around your ears that's actually around your like windpipes and stuff like that. Eventually, it loses its cartilage, and then they're called bronchioles. Bronchioles. They're like tinier versions, practically. And then what they end in is like a little orb that has a whole bunch of orbs. You know? It's just a whole collection of orbs. An orb of orbs. See? Subsectors. Tiny little guys. So it breaks up and breaks up and breaks up. And if you want to see it clear, that's like the split. So, congratulations. You just learned all the most important parts of the respiratory system. Now this guy right here, the alveoli, is going to be a reoccurring character. It's like that like one anime character that shows up in like the... what's it called? In the intro? In the intro song? And then he disappears. Like you never actually see him in the anime until like 5 episodes in. That guy is practically what that is. He'll show up later. Okay. So, now we have the lungs. We're just gonna look into this a little more in depth. And I know this is kind of a pain in the butt. Like, I'm just explaining a whole bunch of like small terminology and whatever. Promise you it's actually important. Okay. You should know, number 1, your lungs are not even. This is a fun fact. I feel like a lot of people don't actually know this. Your lungs are not even. Unfortunately. You actually have uneven lungs. A lot of people don't know this. It's fine. That's just how it be. You should know that your lung is subsectored into the superior lobe, the middle lobe, and the inferior lobe. This would be your right lung. So this is your right lung, this is your left lung, before anyone's like, but you just wrote left on the right side. This is because I'm looking at the person. You have your superior and your inferior over here. What is this little gap that I put here? It's for a little guy. It's for a little guy. And that's why your left lung isn't even. He has a little spot for a little guy. What is that little guy right there? It's the heart. He needs a little spot. He likes to sit there. And what is this called? This is called the cardiac notch. Cardiac notch. It's a nice little piece of trivia if you ever wanted to know. Your left lung is only subsectored into 2 sectors, which is your superior and inferior. And then your right lung has a superior, middle, and inferior lobe. And this is because your left lung has a cardiac notch because your heart is slightly left-leaning. But it's okay. Okay. So, if you remember, I talked about how the heart moves a lot, right? And I talked about how the heart moves a lot, and the important part when it comes to friction and not hurting in the heart when it moves so much is that it has a little sac that floats around it, practically. It's a sac that like sits around it and just kind of sits there, and it's filled with fluid, and it makes it so that when your heart pumps, it's not just rubbing up against all your muscles and organs. He's moving around without causing any friction in the body to make you uncomfortable. Because that would feel really weird if you could just constantly feel your heart beating, right? So, your lungs have the exact same thing. Oh, Zui! Hi! Hello, hello, hello. Hi, 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 hi. Hi, readers. Hello, hello. Hi, 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 hi. Oh my gosh, hello, Frogreed, hello! Zui! Hi, hi, hi. Hi, everyone. I'll introduce myself. Hello. My name is Solari from YeoNwa Gen 3 Oracle. I am their sleepiest sun dragon. Right now, I am in very baby form. I'm in my 3D form. Right now, I'm talking about the lungs. Yes, I'm sorry. You've turned into an educational stream. But I promise you I try to make it as entertaining as possible. So if you want to learn how you actually breathe and how your body moves when you breathe, you can. I like making comparisons to video games when I can, and talking about Gmod when I talk about pressure. So if that floats your boat, then feel free to stick around. But hello. It's nice to meet all you guys. What else? I don't think there's much else. Yeah. Okay. So, what I was talking about, for those who are just tuning in, if you'd like to know, your lungs are not even. Sorry, buddy. Your lungs are not even. Your left lung is actually slightly, I want to say slightly smaller in volume than your right lung. And that's because there's a little spot called the cardiac knot where your heart likes to sit, and your heart likes to sit there and have a little space in the left side of your body. If you're confused about why I'm writing the right side on the left side and the left side on the right side, because this is as if I'm facing the person this way. So this is as if I'm like staring you in the eyes right now, and I'm telling you where your heart is. So, yeah. It's a common thing when people talk about biology. Ooh, a laser. Oh. This is so entertaining. No wonder you guys like looking at this. It's like a little... Oh my god. What is that? Guys, I really think you should just subscribe to whatever that thing is. Oh my god. Okay. So, what I was talking about is that there's a little fluid sac that sits around your lungs. And that's because I would not like it if I could feel my lungs moving inside me and breathing in air. I probably wouldn't like that very much. Therefore, I have a little fluid sac that sits on top of my lungs and keeps my lungs from rubbing up against the rest of my muscles, so I feel comfortable in my body and I don't feel like tearing my skin apart. So, welcome, Raiders. My name is Solari, and I like to scare people with biology facts as well. Did you know that your body never returned the liquid that you, like, filter through your kidneys? You would lose all the fluid in your body in about 24 minutes. You'd just pee it all out if your body never returned the fluid after filtering it through your kidneys. Keep your fluids. Anyways. For those who are actually interested for absolutely no reason, if you want to know that the sac is like... It's like a double-layered sac. So it goes like around like this. And one part is attached to the lungs, and the other part is on the outside. This one's called the parietal side. I can't spell it. Parietal. And the inside port is called the visceral. If you want to know, usually what happens when you get stabbed is that the parietal side of your sac gets punctured, and that causes your lungs to collapse. So that's called traumatic pneumothorax. And that means that this little sac has been punctured and he's not happy, so he collapses onto your lungs because of pressure. And that's why pressure is so important in this. Otherwise, spontaneous pneumothorax just happens usually in the visceral side. And that just kind of happens because of disease. I think it's an emphysema or something. But emphysema. I hate when that happens, right? I hate when I get stabbed and my lung collapses. It's terrible. I hate it. It sucks. Anyways, if you want to know what this little like blue thing is though, it's called the plural sac. Yummy. The way that people like to explain it is that if you think of like a water balloon, if you think of an air-filled balloon first. Here's our air-filled balloon. He's so full of air, no microplastics, just air. And then if I wrap a water balloon around it, it's practically what the lungs and this little like tiny little sac is. And by the way, this thing is tiny. Like it's extremely thin. So even though it does a lot of work, it's super thin that like you can barely see the gap in between stuff. But it's pretty interesting. It just kind of exists there. It's pretty nice. So just think of water balloon covering air-filled balloon. He just kind of likes to help him and make sure that he doesn't like rub up against things. But yes. So the way that people like to describe what this thing actually does, like the function of it, of keeping things open, is one, this thing keeps your lungs, like, as I said, this thing keeps your lungs from collapsing. It's quite nice. I kind of like it when my lungs can fill with air and I can breathe. It's quite entertaining. I love breathing. So one, it holds the lungs open. Or at least it helps hold the lungs open. Number two, it does whatever this is. And the way that sometimes people also like to explain it is that if you've ever set a cup down on your desk, on like a solid surface desk, like not like a fabric or anything. If you've ever set a cup down and then water gets like around the cup, and then you try to lift that cup, have you ever tried to like lift a cup that's like on a solid surface and it's wet, and you're like fighting a war trying to pull it up, and it's stuck there, and you're like grabbing it and you're like pulling ever so harder than you really should be just to lift the cup off of the puddle? That's practically what's happening here. It's pressure. So it's practically helping things stay open like that. By kind of having that. So, okay, I should say, I explained it as a water balloon, and yes, it's filled with fluids. Not microplastics, but fluids. He's filled with fluid. So, a part of that pressure that it creates using the water is negative pressure, which keeps everything open. Because again, everything likes to move from high pressure, which I can write here. This would be my high pressure area, and in here is my low pressure area, because of what that liquid does. It's kind of a strange system. It's a little hard to understand sometimes, but that's the best I can explain it. Because his lung collapsed once. Is it because of that thingy magoo? Well, it depends. Did he get stabbed by any chance? Did he get stabbed? But anyways. Alright. So we talked about kind of the basic anatomy stuff. So you guys should probably know the general anatomy of the lung is that you have the big pipe here, your trachea. This is your, I'll draw it in a different color. Trachea is right here. You have your bronchus, or your bronchi, here. It goes into subsectors called bronchioles. And it gets smaller and it gets smaller and it keeps splitting off and it keeps splitting off and it splits off and it splits off and it splits off into the tiny little orbs that I talked about. Tiny little orbs, tiny little orbulars. And they're all connected, by the way. But these tiny little orbulars are called alveoli. And that's where the gas exchange happens, in this little guy in the bottom. So, congratulations! You just learned all the most important parts about the body for the respiratory system. And One of the most important things that helps function your lungs properly. Congratulations! You just acquired so much knowledge about the respiratory system anatomy. Now continuing on. This is kind of the gross but kind of funny part. If you'd like to know, the most efficient way to breathe is actually through your nose. So, if you're mouth breathing, you're being inefficient. I hope you know that. Congratulations. I'm shattering your hopes and dreams now. Inefficient breather. I'm joking, but... Is this like, can I like draw like lips? God, how do I draw person's side profile like that? Okay. You know what? That wasn't a horrible side profile. This was actually pretty good. Alright. So, general anatomy. Okay. It's gonna smooch. Oh my god. It's puckering up. Okay. So for the upper airways and the bronchi. The important rules of the upper airways and the bronchi is... There's 3 this time. Sorry guys. I'm breaking it. I'm breaking the pattern. But there's 3. Warm air. Your body does not like it when air is cold. Or else your blood would be cold. And what happens when your blood is cold? You are cold. So, it's gotta warm it up. It's gotta add water vapor. Why is this? What's a good analogy? Oh, good analogy. How do you make batter? For a cake or something like that. It's not just a whole bunch of powders put together and then you throw the powder in the oven. That's not really how baking works. You need something that connects everything together to make it into a form where it's possible to have reactions, it's possible to build bonds and whatnot. So the vapor that's added turns all the air, which we'll call like the powders in a baking cake, into liquids. Now in this version, it's more so gases turning into kind of like turning gases more moist almost with water vapor, so that the gases can dissolve into the water vapor and transport into the blood. Just think of it as like turning it into a medium, which makes it easier for the body to consume. I don't like eating powder. I'd prefer cake. And lastly, filter. We like to filter out foreign material. Foreign material, kind of scary. I kind of don't want COVID. I kind of don't want to get sick. I kind of don't want whatever that horrible cough that like, I don't know, that one guy walking down the street has, where he's like coughing really freaking bad. And it's like, oh my god, are you okay? I kind of don't want it. So this guy helps make sure we don't get that. Alright, so I said that nose breathing is superior. I am about to educate you guys about why the breathing meta is through the nose. The breathing meta is through the nose. Okay, we talked about what the jobs of the upper respiratory system is. 1, have you ever had a nosebleed in your life? And it's probably yes, right? Okay, if you had a nosebleed in your life, have you ever noticed that when you get a cut on your knee or your hand or whatnot, you don't bleed as profusely as when you get punched in the nose? Or even if you just like accidentally like hit your nose a little too hard and you just start gushing out blood randomly or something like that? Or the air is a little too cold and your nose gets all dry and then you start bleeding? That's because there's a trillion goddamn capillaries. Like a lot of blood flow happens right beside your nose, in the nasal cavity. That's just because there's a lot of blood vessels. There's a lot happening here. Lots of different little guys of blood just flowing right beside it. And I should draw this a little more accurately, if I'm honest. It's kind of more like this. The cavity is more like that. And the reason why it's like that is actually... There's actually a specific reason he's built like this. It's very strange. So... Oxygen regions? Actually, funnily enough, because gas transportation only happens in the lungs, usually. I'm gonna put a usually there before someone goes like, actually, there's actually gas exchange that happens in the nose. Okay, I'm talking about in bulk, like the mass amount happens in the lungs. The blood flow that happens here actually warms the air faster. So it makes it more efficient to breathe through the nose. It warms the air much faster here than it does through breathing through your mouth, and it dodges all those capillaries and just goes straight into the body. So that's why breathing through the nose is just seemingly more efficient. Alright, second. Is that this is a lot of space. That is literally the second reason. A lot of space, a lot of air gets taken in, and a lot flows down. Right? Great. Perfect. Wow! Lots of air! And lastly, nose hair. And not even just nose hair. The way that your nasal cavity is shaped is that air will go in, and a lot of air will go in, just because of the shape of it. This is a tiny hole and then a giant cavity. This is a change in pressure when you use your muscles to breathe in, right? So all this air is going to flow in giant bulk. Now the reason why your nasal cavity is shaped in this weird way is that everything that's air will go specifically down into the lungs. It's perfect. Great. That's exactly what we want. But everything that's bad that we actually don't want will breathe in, and it will smack back against your throat. If you've ever like accidentally choked on water or something by breathing it in, like at a pool or something, and you feel this burning sensation in the back of your throat, that's because water has taken the exact same fluid path as air and has gone up into your nose and shot back this way. Now the thing is that air gets the pleasure of flowing down this way. Water does not get that pleasure. And it just smacks back into the throat. Suri, why boogers? It's literally just because stuff is getting trapped in the hair. Like particles and dust and stuff like that. It's mostly just dust and whatnot, and it collects here. Now, if you're like sick and you have a runny nose and stuff like that, that's because of something called a mucociliary escalator, which means that mucus is moving up your throat, and this is normal. But when you're sick, it happens a lot more. So the back of the throat burning feeling only happens when it's something that you can actually feel. Now what happens with stuff like pathogens and stuff, it will go through here, it'll go super high speed, and it'll smack against the back of your throat. And that's a good thing, because guess what? You have a crap ton of mucus lining all of like your throat here. That's why you gotta clear your throat sometimes. But honestly, this, very nice. This is great. This is perfect. Now the really gross part is, and no one likes to know this, but what actually happens is that this stuff will hit the back of your throat, and it'll move up until it reaches like the mouth area here, and then you swallow it. It's pretty nasty, but it's how your body works. Because then what happens is that your stomach is an incinerator, and it will just kill everything that you swallow because of how high or low of a pH it has. It just acidifies and destroys everything. So what happens is that your body has a system where it moves mucus up towards like this upper area of your throat. It moves it up, and then you swallow, and it goes to your stomach. Why does stuff smack into the back of your throat? instead of going down where air goes, think of mass. I'm certain you've thrown something like, you know, if I throw a baseball at someone, the baseball is probably going to travel further than when I try to throw a paper ball at someone. Think of air as like a paper ball, where when I throw it with the velocity of quote-unquote breathing in, almost, and we'll talk about the pressure of how and why air flows like this, like why is everything even going into my nose? But just think of it as breathing in is that like initial throw that happens, and because it's a paper ball, it doesn't just hit the back of your throat and stop. It can travel a path nicely, thankfully. That's kind of how it works. But everything else is way too heavy, and it hits the back of your throat. So stuff like, even like stuff like dust and, you know, water, of course, is super heavy compared to everything we're talking about. It'll hit the back of your throat, and that's where it sits. Momentum, yeah. So mucus gets moved up. If you want to know, your throat is actually lined with a whole bunch of cells that have little legs. This is in your body. It's funny. You have a guy that has a whole bunch of little legs that sits in your body. So this is one guy, and he's paired with guys that sit over here and sit beside him. Now these guys make something called saline, which is literally just salt water. Just think of it as salt water. With different concentration, take that with a grain of salt. This makes something called saline, and this guy, he has a funny name. He's called a goblet. Goblet cell. Goblet. And he makes the actual mucus. He makes mucus that lines everything. Then we have a whole bunch of saline. So what happens is these guys with little legs will push things with its little legs upwards, which will move this thing, and this thing will move upwards. And then because this is moving upwards, this moves upwards. So it's like a little system. And that's why it's called a mucociliary escalator, is because it's a little escalator that moves things up and moves things up. Because then what happens is that gets moved up, and then there's another one of these. And he moves them as well. And then there's another. And then he moves them as well. These are all lined in the throat. All across like this area kind of with the throat. He just sits there. He just likes to move things. So they defend you. They're moving things on that 9 to 5 job. Actually, no, not really 9 to 5. He's literally 24/7. 24/7 moving these little guys upwards, and on that grind set, lifting, pushing the saline, and the saline pushes the mucus, and then everything goes up, and then you swallow. So, have you ever heard of cystic fibrosis? It's kind of something that's talked about every so often. I don't know how often. I hear it a lot, because obviously that's what my classes consist of. Actually, I'll keep this. Vaguely? So cystic fibrosis is practically when saline is not produced. And the reason why it's not produced is not because... So I should explain this, that these cells make saline, right? These purple ones, they like to make saline. Now how do they make the little blue saline stuff that I drew out? Is that they move water, and then they move ions. So they move like, practically just think of it, it moves water, and it moves part of salt, and it moves the other part of salt, right? So one, it moves water, H2O. Then what does it do? It moves something called, and I'm sure you've heard of it, sodium. And then what does it move? It also moves chlorine. Or chloride. Sorry, I always say chlorine for some reason. But then it moves chloride. Duh. Chloride. Not chlorine. Chlorine should not be in the body. And then what do these things make together? They make salt. What is this? That's water. Salt water. Yay! They move it. And so, how do they move all this stuff? Well, it's moved by something called a CFTR channel. Now that's specifically for this guy. this guy, he has his own special little system that helps him, and it's called a CTF or a CFTR channel. And this is located on this side. It's right here. It's how that thing gets transported. What does it stand for? Cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance, I think, or something like that. Conductance regulator, I think? Is the R? So it's just fancy big old name. He's just the thing that moves chlorine. Now, if you have cystic fibrosis, this guy does not move. And if this guy doesn't move, this guy's not gonna move. And if this guy's not gonna move, this guy's not gonna move either. So it's a cascade. So just because that one tiny little channel in your cells don't work, drops you to a life expectancy of 40 years. That one channel in the body causes you to just stop. Like, your life expectancy drops by literally half. And it's pretty crazy to think about. The reason why it's called cystic fibrosis is because it affects the pancreas. Pancreas is a little hormone-making organ that's near your respiratory, or not respiratory, near your digestive tract. And it's because that little guy gets cysts and builds up a whole bunch of tissue, fibrous tissue. And that's why I call it cystic fibrosis. It's really funny, a lot of the things in the body are either named after drugs, because it'll be like, oh, it's this drug channel or this drug receptor because it reacted to, because like for example you have nicotinic receptors and that's because it reacts to nicotine. Oh, congratulations, like you react to nicotine, now you're going to be named after it. And it's like, oh, I don't know who you call the nicotinic receptor, that makes me sound bad, even though the nicotinic receptor is literally just for like just function. Alright. So we talked about how the body, the upper part of the body defends yourself. Practically. We talked about this. You should know the reason why your nose is the best place to breathe is because it filters things really well. It adds warm air. Vapor is kind of variant. It's just like, it exists. But, anyways. I'm trying to think, what else do we want to talk about before we move on? We could move on to... I'm trying to decide if... I don't think we need to talk about volumes and capacities. Because I feel like that's probably... If you guys want to know... For example, your tidal volume is the amount of air that you breathe in and breathe out in quiet respiration. So that means like, I'm not going... You know, that's not really quiet respiration. You can kind of hear that one. Quiet respiration is what you do automatically. Let's talk about how breathing works. Let's talk about how breathing works. We don't need to talk about capacities and stuff. That doesn't really matter to you guys. Like, you'll know the definition of it, and that's as much as you'll know. Like, you're never gonna actually measure those yourself. Unless, like, you get a doctor to do, like, a spirometer on you. So... What if I don't have a nose? Well, that means you can still breathe through your mouth. It's just less efficient. Okay. Let's talk about how breathing works. So, really important concept that we talked about. This is gonna be the overarching thing about literally everything respiratory. High pressure. I should just write it as high. High pressure to low pressure. This is so important. This is literally God's reoccurring theme when it comes to respiratory stuff. So, how does this even happen? Let's look at the lungs again. Oh my god, we love the lungs here. We are lung enjoyers over here. Alright. So you should know that your lungs, people probably draw it out more like this. You've probably seen people draw it out like this more, where they're kind of on like an angle upwards, and then they sit like this, right? You've probably seen people draw lungs before, or you've seen the lungs before, hopefully, I hope. So, let's have two different diagrams. But for this one, I'm gonna delete the bottom part. God, I need to drink some tea. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that would be funny. Okay. I just really wanted to do the dad thing, where dad like sips on his coffee really hard and stuff like that, reading the newspaper and everything. Okay. So, do you guys remember? What was the most important muscle when it comes to breathing in? What's the thing that does the most work? I talked about the important things about the lung, or about the respiratory system, is that flow moves from high pressure to low pressure. That was the first one. Second one was that there was a muscular pump that caused this to happen. What was it? What was it? Diaphragm! Yeah! Diaphragm! Okay. So, the diaphragm sits right below your lungs. Now, funnily enough, when people say, like, use your diaphragm to, like, sing and stuff like that, they're not actually talking about the diaphragm. Like, that's not really how it actually works. You can't control your diaphragm. Your diaphragm just does whatever kind of thing. It's more so, like... It's more so what's happening, I want to say, more in, like... the mentally, like, you know, controlling your breaths and stuff like that, and managing the volume in your lungs, than what the diaphragm actually, like, actually controlling your diaphragm. People like to use that phrase just because it makes you feel like you're, like, sinking your stomach and stuff like that. That's not what happens. So. Alright. So. What is happening here? I breathe in. No, I don't breathe in. I'm not breathing in here, actually. So, think about Gmod again. I love Gmod as an analogy. It's my favorite analogy. So your air, like the air around you has oxygen that sits around, right? Look at all this oxygen. Now, your lungs doesn't really have that much oxygen in it in comparison to what's happening in the air. So what happens is that your diaphragm is going to contract, and that sounds really funny because it's technically moving downwards, quote unquote. And I don't like thinking of it as contracting because it's like, oh, but it's moving downwards to make more space. But this is called contraction. For the diaphragm, at least. This is the diaphragm. 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 And when that happens, there's all this extra space. And I'll draw a dotted line here. This is about where I drew the thing last time. And because of all that extra space, a whole bunch of particles are gonna move in here. Now, if you want to know what the law is called, it's called Boyle's law. And it's kind of hard to explain unless I do math, and I really don't want to do math. But practically, Boyle's law concludes that the pressure of one area and the volume of one area will equal the pressure in the second area multiplied by the volume in the second area. What the fuck does this even mean? Okay, let's think about it like this. Let's focus on, specifically, the volume. We have volume 1, which is up here. And we have volume 2 that's down here. Right? If volume 1, let's say this is 2. Volume of 2, what? Let's just say, I'm just gonna say 2 because I don't want to say liters or else it's gonna get confusing and stuff like that. A volume of 2. When the lungs expand, because the diaphragm is contracting. This becomes 3. Oh my gosh, so much space! Wow! Will this be on the test? Yeah. Yeah. So, what does this mean for the pressure? If the pressure was initially, let's say, also 2, what is the pressure here? Oh my god, we're doing like the IQ test! You have an equation, you have simple numbers. If P1 equals, or P pressure 1 multiplied by volume 1, and pressure 2 multiplied by volume 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 2 equals, oh my god, algebra, oh my goodness, pressure of 3 and volume 2, right? Because we don't know what this is. This is an unknown variable right here. So, multiply it, you have 4, and then you divide it 3, right? Is our unknown variable here. So, this is 4 divided by 3 in terms of pressure. Wait, volume? Yeah, volume, pressure, yeah, okay, volume, pressure. Alright, 4 divided by 3 for pressure. Pressure? Yeah. Yeah? Pressure? Was I talking about pressure here? Or is it? This is, yeah, that's volume. Okay, thank god. I was sweating for a second. Okay. So, what does that mean? This is what the pressure is before anything enters. So this is before air actually enters the body. If the pressure is lower here, because 4 divided by 3, if you need me to write it out not in mixed fractions. There we are. Ta-da! We have 1. Okay, so, and I'll write this in green so it's a little more understandable. This is high pressure and low pressure. If we're moving from an area of high pressure to low pressure, that means this is higher pressure than this. Obviously, bigger number. So what's gonna happen is that everything is going to flow into here because technically it's changing in pressure. That's like a poor way of explaining it. Okay, let me reread it. You have an area of high pressure in here. Or well, you have, let's say they're both balanced, right? 2, 2, that means air is exchanging in and out properly, right? It's going in, it's going out. There's no direct flow of where things are going. It's exchanging naturally. For every one particle that moves in, another particle moves out. We have good exchange happening here. Now, when the diaphragm contracts and there's all this extra space, the pressure has now dropped inside the lungs. But outside the lungs, it's still 2, right? So what's happening? Well, all these particles now have realized, oh god, this is the area of high pressure. I don't want to be in the area of high pressure. I want to go to the area of low pressure. So it will enter the lungs. Is that understandable? I know I fumbled on my words a bit, which might make it a little more confusing. Should I redraw it to make it a little more understandable? Or did I salvage it? Did I salvage it? Looks fine to me. We're good? Very understandable? Sure, I can re-explain it, but it's understandable. I salvaged it? Okay, I salvaged it. Alright, you're good? Can you explain it in T of 2 terms? Give me a second. When you're playing Spy, you usually don't want to be in an area where there's a lot of enemies. You're that little guy, and you don't want to be near all the enemies. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to somewhere that isn't where all the enemies are. So you're gonna go into a region of where there's less people and you can pick off people without being noticed. And you won't get killed immediately. So it's picking off people where there's less people to figure out what you're doing. So you're moving from an area of high pressure to another part of the map where there's less people that will instantly kill you when you get the pick. But you can still pick off people. Does it work? Is that... I can explain it... I explain it in TF2 terms? We're good? We're good? Making it easier to understand? Well, that's why I'm here. You guys can ask me to, like, re-explain things. I'm not gonna get mad at, like, re-explaining. That's why I'm here talking about it. So what's gonna happen is that you're a little spy and you want to live, but there's all these enemies here. So you're going to sneak away and you're going to go in an area where there's less enemies and you're going to kill them. A better analogy of this is MGS. I kind of don't want to go and kill people in MGS when there's 18 trillion people already watching this area, or else I'm gonna get caught and I'm going to go into an alert mode. So I want to go to the area where there's less people and I can kill this guy without these guys realizing. It didn't work. I want to move from an area of high pressure to low pressure. Map! Thank you for joining the Sun Company. I appreciate it. Hello. So I did TF2 turns on my instant membership, Aaron. Thank you. Oh, I'm a TF2 enjoyer, so... Okay. So, that's what the diaphragm does. So I pulled out Boyle's Law. We talked about Boyle's Law. Let's talk about the lungs again. So, to draw this out with less obstructants... I should draw this out better every time. I don't know. I have the habit of drawing like the big old lungs. Oh god. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that was kind of poor, but... Bam, bam, bam. Okay, there. Wow, would you look at that? Oh my god. Okay. Diaphragm lowers... So you understand how generally... kind of generally what happens with like the lungs when you're breathing area. If there's more volume, it's lower pressure kind of thing, and the body kind of moves air that way. Right? We're kind of getting it. Okay. So practically the exact opposite happens when you breathe out. What happens is that the diaphragm relaxes and it pushes back up. And that squamches your lungs, and then the lungs have a shit ton of pressure when they get pushed up like this. Why do they have a shit ton of pressure? Well, two diagrams, like just literally like a diagram ago, I explained that everything's gonna flow in here, and while it's all like open and big, there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of air. Air has flown in, and now it's occupying all this space. We're back to 2 and 2. We're back to 2 and 2. Right? Now when your lungs push back up because your diaphragm relaxes, we're now going into this state. Now what is the difference between the state that I drew before and now? Is that there's a trillion particles in here. And now, by per volume, there's a lot more particles in here than inside the regular air. So what's gonna happen? The exact opposite. Air is gonna leave. Yay! Congratulations! You learned how breathing works. Diaphragm contracts, air moves in. Fills up all this space. Diaphragm relaxes, it goes back up, it makes a whole bunch of pressure, and then pressure forces the air back out. Yeah, we breathe! Oh my god, we're breathing! Wow! So. Whoa. Let's talk about what I just did. forced expiration. Forced inspiration. Now, what muscles did I just use? There's kind of general groups. Every time you do forced inspiration. So this is breathing in, inspiration. And we're talking about forced. Forced. What does forced mean? It's more than what your body regularly does. Your body regularly just goes... And that's great. That's perfect. It does it naturally, and that's perfect. Now, when you have to do forced inspiration and expiration, when you're trying to, like, you know, have you ever gotten, like, a little nervous and you just kind of got to do the, like, whew, holy. That's forced inspiration, and then that's forced expiration. You're trying to get as much in and then as much out. You should know, by the way, breathing in is like the muscle moving, but breathing out is... it's involuntary. Like, it's passive. So breathing in is actually the thing that takes, like, energy. But breathing out is just relaxing. Now that's different for forced inspiration and forced expiration. Forced expiration, you're actually using muscles to breathe out. But, anyways. I'm not gonna be able to draw this diagram. It's gonna be too difficult. So I'm gonna list them off. 1. If I'm doing a huge... Actually, you know what? Before we talk about this, let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. I'll keep inspiration up here. Where I talk about forced inspiration and expiration. Let's talk about how your body actually moves when you breathe. So, there's 2 methods of how your body moves. 1 is called... This one is called the pump handle motion. This is like a little... Have you ever seen like a little water spout? And you have to like... You know, pump the spout for water to come out? It's just... Your rib cage moves like that. I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry to tell you this. But... When we look at our spine... Let's just say this is our spine. And we have our ribs. Like, let's say this is like how your ribs regularly relax. It's really awkward. When you breathe in, your rib cage actually moves up. It's a little strange. I hate that concept. I hate the thought of my bones moving. Despite, you know, doing, like, learning this for a lot of everything. I don't like this. This concept does not make me happy. The thought of my bones physically moving when I'm just sitting there does not please me. Now you should know, this is the upper part. So I should say upper. Upper body. So I'm talking about the upper ribs. I should separate ribs. Ribs. So, when I talked about the diaphragm, the little blob that moves your lungs and stuff like that, that's about 60 to 75% of the work is done by your diaphragm. So this is about like 60% of what happens when you're breathing. It's because of those little guys. Those little guys are great. The ribs on my nose? Yeah. It could be that. Because you have a whole bunch of different, like, muscles in between your ribs as well. Which, you know, yeah. I hate thinking about it. I hate thinking about it. This is called the pump handle motion because obviously this is moving like this, you know? He's kind of moving up. This is also moving up. And it moves up in, like, a way that it, like, rotates. It doesn't, like, just shift up. It pivots from, like, a center. So it's pivoting from here. Now, in the lower ribs... In the lower ribs... Ugh. Sorry, I should draw this a little better. Ugh. Sorry, I'm gonna do that a lot. I hate this. I hate this. Oh, my bones are moving when I'm just sitting here. Ugh. But... Ugh. Oh, God. Dear Lord. Okay. Now this motion is called the bucket handle. The bucket handle motion. This is a bucket. Dear God. What happens in this bucket is that it usually has handles that just kind of sit out like this, right? And then it will move and have handles that go out like this. If we're pivoting it from here. Right? That kind of is a poor drawing, but there's more. No. So it moves here. It pivots from this area. Here we're pivoting. I drew them a little space because it's a little harder for me to draw them over top of each other. But we're doing a pivoting motion practically. But it's moving like outwards this time. In kind of like the bottom part. Because like, so it kind of shifts up and out. And then here it lifts up and like kind of in almost. And this like weird thing that I'm drawing here is your sternum. It's like that little like hard part in between like your rib cage. This thing, whatever this is called, sternum. This center. But yes, moves up. Congratulations. So how is this all happening? There's something called the external intercostals. If you want to search up a body diagram, you can. They're just kind of muscles that sit, I don't know how to explain it. They like sit, How do I draw this? Sorry. The most I can do is like draw it like this, but they're just muscles in like your ribs. They just kind of sit there. They're pulled. They pull. Then your rib cage moves. Congratulations. Why does that help? It's because practically moving your ribs is like moving your like thoracic cavity and moving those muscles. And by like kind of giving your body more space, it's like that volume thing again. Giving like the thoracic cavity, so like the cavity where your chest is, giving it more space gives the lungs more space, and then the lungs get bigger, and because it gets bigger, that means more air flows into it. It's practically the most basic way I can explain it. And the other one is your scalenes. So I'll just write them here for anyone who's interested. But external intercostals, and you have your scalenes. Alright. So your ribcage, he likes to wiggle around. And this causes the extra, whatever's left, about 40% movement for air to come in. So 60% is due to the diaphragm. The 40% is due to the ribcage is being weird, and I hate it, and I hate the ribcage. Now, if we talk about forced inspiration and forced expiration, just to put it basically, if you want to do forced inspiration, because this is what's happening during inspiration, right? You're making more volume. What your body will do is it uses a lot more of the upper ribs again. And you should know that this is in the lower ribs. Sorry, I should write that. Lower ribs. Your body will use a lot more upper rib power, as well as your neck and your back, and just upper respiratory tract muscles to make as much volume as possible. So have you ever like tried if you try slouching and then breathing in really hard, you'll notice that you'll start to sit up a bit. Like your back will like stretch out a little, and that's because your neck and your back work together to give your like lungs more space. Now the exact opposite happens when you try to force expiration. If you sit there and relax, and then you try to breathe out as much air as possible, you'll notice you'll start crippling up into a ball. And that's just how it works. Your body's trying to make as little volume as possible so that you expire or you try to breathe out as much as possible. So you crumple into a ball. So think of it, inspiration, you're trying to give your body as much space as possible. Expiration, you're trying to give your body as little space as possible. You'll also use your abs. If you notice that if you try to expire really hard, you'll use your abs to do that as well. And there's stuff like the so instead for forced expiration, so forced breathing out, you use like stuff like your internal intercostals, your triangularis sterni, stuff like that. But to put it more simply, forced inspiration is upper body. I should say like upper ribs almost. I'm gonna put a question mark because it's not really just the ribs, but and your neck and back. There's like specific muscles. I listed them, but I'm not gonna go into depth with it. And then forced expiration. Is lower. So abs. And then also your neck and back, but in the opposite function. So I'm gonna write crumple. Crumple. Extend. Extend. How is strengthening those muscles? Okay, if you want to know something, strengthening your lungs is actually a bad thing. It's exactly like how I talked about strengthening your heart isn't a good thing. It's what causes you to have heart failure. Is strengthening your heart too much? The lungs are the exact same way. If your lungs become too strong, they'll have a lot of tissue. And with all that extra tissue and muscle, it actually makes it harder to breathe in. So, for example, what is it called? It's called like, pulmonary fibrosis. Is when your lungs have way too much tissue. Fibrous tissue, like connective tissue. And it's so difficult, like that happens when you, like for example, asbestos is part of the reason why people have poor lung, like, functioning, poor compliance. So poor compliance practically just means your lungs, it's harder to fill your lungs with air. Have you ever had, like, I like using the analogy of a balloon. Have you ever had a balloon where you just can't fill it with air for some reason? Like, no matter how hard you blow, the balloon does, like, that weird shape where it kind of goes like this and turns into, like almost like a ball. But no matter how hard you blow on the balloon, it doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't, like, do the big expand or whatever. It just stays like this. This is the same thing as lung compliance. You're looking for something that doesn't take so much pressure to try and fill it up. You're looking for something that doesn't take too little pressure to just expand really far. You're looking for the good in between where it can go from this to, like, I don't know, this. Pretty easily. Never exercise, I see. Exercise is different than lungs. Training your body is different. That's an entirely different tissue. We're talking about the lungs. If you want to know about strengthening your muscles, it's a lot of diet training. honestly, bulking and cutting is pretty efficient for muscle building, in my opinion. It's also a smart way to like... It's like a smart way to diet manage, as long as you're like healthy bulking, like clean bulking. And then cutting is just like cardio, you're just cutting fat, so... That's probably what I can offer. One compliance, now I can follow. So, you should know that practically okay, yeah. Practically what happens with your lungs is that if you have too much compliance, so this bottom, so I'm just gonna label them, for example, 1, 2, 3. If you have too much compliance, for example, this is what happens to people who smoke cigarettes. I'm going to put a cigarette here. So, two things happen. This is called emphysema. I forgot the Y. Emphysema. Emphysema, practically, oh god, dude, I left no space to write the proper letters. Oh my god. Emphysema. Emphysema! Okay. Two things happen here. Your lungs fill up, or just have way too much compliance. So what happens is that your lungs are really easy to fill, but it's really hard to get rid of the air. If you stretch out a balloon, and you blow into the balloon, and then you let go of the balloon and you let it deflate, do you notice that the balloon is still stretched out, partly? It's not the same shape that it was before, at times. That's what happens with emphysema. The balloon has been, you know, blown into, there's a whole bunch of air, but now it's really hard for it to return to its regular shape, to push all that air back. And that's what's most important about pressure, is this volume change that happens over and over again. So you want it to return back to this form, but it never can. It stays at like this, or whatever you want to say, like an arbitrary thing where you aren't actually breathing out all the air you're supposed to. So emphysema causes you to have way too much compliance. Stretch further? Not, like, partly, yeah. It can be. But it's more so your lungs stretch out and then they don't deflate properly. Maybe this is like a better way of drawing it. Rather than drawing it like really exaggerated. Oh, oops. Oh god. Because emphysema... Okay. So you know how I talked about, pneumothorax? Which is, you know, traumatic pneumothorax is literally when you get stabbed and your lungs deflate. Spontaneous pneumothorax? One of the greatest causes of emphysema as well. Emphysema is pretty dangerous. I should draw it like a little exaggerated. So, like, your lungs can collapse because of this. And this is probably because you have too much compliance. And your body doesn't... what's it called? The inner walls of the oh, I don't know how to explain this without it being really complicated. The pleural sac, the thing that, like, is around the lungs, can be practically punctured from the inside. And by punctured, it doesn't mean it needs to actually be stabbed, but it can break. And when it breaks, that's a bad thing. You have too much compliance, and you're constantly stretching out the sac. I'm gonna say the best way I can explain this is that you're putting way too much work on the little sac that is trying to keep your lungs happy and healthy. To the point where it just died it. So another thing that happens with emphysema. There's a lot of things with this thing. You know that little orbular that I always draw at the end of drawing the lungs? I like break down the lungs into like a whole bunch of things, and then I just draw these little orbs at the end. This is the site of gas exchange. This is how oxygen actually enters the lungs. Now, one of the most important things, why is it always drawn with all these little orbs? Let's do a fun little test. Fun little IQ test smile. This is like one of the questions that would happen on an IQ test. I should draw it like this, probably. Excluding the fact that I've drawn the stem. So, focus on what I have in the square hole. In the square holes. What has the most surface area? Dot 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 dot. This number one. This guy has the most surface area. Why is that? Well, so this if I stretch it out, and then this if I stretch it out, and then this if I stretch it out, and then this if I stretched it out, and then this if I stretched it out. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot of area. Now, if I did it for this one, it would just be like a straight line. It would be just that much. So this thing has the most surface area. Now why is that even important? Oxygen. Look at that little guy. He has so many sites to re-enter the body. He can go through here, he can go through there, he can go through here, he can go through there, he can go through here, and then he can also enter through there, and this, and that corner, and that corner, and this corner, and that corner. It's all perfect. There's like a lot of area for it to enter. When you have something like this, there's only a certain amount of area that can be used up. In comparison. Because again, it's like if I drew the line. This one has so much more space, that so much more sites of exchange can happen. Versus this one, where it can only have a set amount of exchanges before it fills up. This one gets all the liberty of having more and 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 more exchanges. So, it's more efficient. And that's what the body loves. The body loves to be efficient when it can. So, what happens when you have emphysema? What happens when you smoke? Is that you actually literally just go from this thing that has a whole bunch of orbs. And what happens is that these merge. And when they merge, you get the sad little blob. And this is no good. You've lost surface area. They've merged, you've lost surface area, the capillaries also merge, the capillaries die, your body will break capillaries that it doesn't need. It'll build capillaries where they need it. So you've lost surface area, there's less capillaries, you have less oxygen going into the body. So this, not great. This is not good. This is no good. So, this guy, we like this guy. This guy's great. This guy, we don't like this guy. We don't want that. Trying to think. There's a couple of other pretty interesting things, but it's a little hard to explain. I've gone through quite a bit already, so... Oh, hello! Hi, Raiders. What's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. How can I introduce myself? Oh. Hi, My name is Suri from YeoNwa Gen 3 Oracle. I am there, sleepiest sun dragon. Right now, we're going through silly stuff about the body. Yes. But hello. Welcome. What can I talk about? What can I talk about? What can I talk about that is applicable? Okay, let's have like two more topics. So, again, I'll write it out here really quickly. On balloons, yeah, I'm really good. I'm so good at understanding balloons. So too much compliance, which is I got rid of the 3. Too much compliance means the lungs fill up easily, but they don't decompress easily. No compliance means the lungs don't fill up. You don't get a lot of air. It's hard to breathe out, or it's easy. You can breathe out, but it's really hard to breathe in. Really easy to breathe in, really hard to breathe out. Perfect lungs. Breathe in, breathe out. Perfect. Alright. So. Sorry. I don't want to pick out really complicated stuff, because that's not gonna be fun. Let's talk about how the body actually starts breathing. So. You know what the medulla is by any chance? I can like draw it here. But you should just know that this is in the brainstem. Thing called the medulla. If I draw like the rest of the brain, this is like your cerebellum. And you have the rest of the brain, and it kind of squishes here, and then it has like the rest of it over here. This is in your brain. This is like the weird wrinkly part of your brain. He does his own little things, and he exists. This is the squishy part of the brain that everyone likes looking at up here. So, one thing you should know: people actually don't know how we breathe. It's like there's a lot of theories about how ventilation is controlled, like breathing. But right now there's only a general model that's been justified by some experiments. Like, they've been justified by good experiments, but we have no like absolute confirmed basis. So this is generally what some people believe. Most people believe. And it's like the generally accepted thing that happens. So, one thing you should know is that, number 1, like the heart, breathing is controlled by something that is spontaneous. So spontaneous means something just happens. It just happens and no one really knows why it happens, how it starts, but it does. And because of that, there are 3 main parts of the brainstem that is most important for breathing. I should draw these in different colors, actually. I'll draw this one in blue. I'm just gonna draw them like this because I don't know how they actually connect and everything. But this is how information moves around. So information will move from this little guy to this little guy. And from this little guy, he'll go back in like kind of like a cycle. And this guy will go out and go to like, let's say like your diaphragm. Diaphragm. Now, this guy will go to forced expiration stuff. Forced stuff. So let's say like you do forced inspiration, you do forced expiration, and then these guys will also talk to each other. These little guys like having conversations in your brainstem. They just like to talk to each other a lot, and they control kind of how you breathe. This blue guy receives a lot of information from the rest of the body. So for example, pH levels. So let's say you've been exercising a lot and there's a lot of CO2, which means there's a lot of hydrogen. Your pH drops. pH will tell your body, hey, we need to breathe more. For example, right? There's stuff like oxygen levels will tell this thing whether to speed up or slow down breathing, and stuff like CO2 levels. CO2 and pH are analyzed separately. And that's just how it works. And this is partly because the brainstem pH is monitored. Differently and separately from the rest of the body. It happens in the brainstem, and it can talk to the higher brain center if it needs to. But usually this happens in the brainstem, is what's the current model. The higher brain, like everything from up here, will come down and talk when it needs to. So all your higher functioning is in the squishy part. I like to think that, at least. I call it the squishy part. The little soft squishy part over here, most highest brain functioning happens up here. Stuff will happen sometimes here, stuff will happen in like glands that are like inside over here and whatnot. But most of the higher functioning of the body happens in like the squishy part of the brain. It's great. So in the brainstem, this silly little piece, the blue part is called the dorsal respiratory, and I'm not gonna write the entire thing, respiratory group. This guy deals with he deals with basic breathing. It's great. I say basic breath. Congratulations. Are you gonna be tested on this later? Yes. Yup. It's great. He does the basic breathing pattern for you. Now the thing is he monitors and talks to things that do the basic breathing. He does not initiate basic breathing. And that sounds really complicated, but to break it down, this guy talks to muscles. He likes to talk to muscles, and that's it. What he says for the muscles to do is different. That is from this guy. The purple guy is called the ventral respiratory group. Now this guy has something called the Botzinger complex. And this will make sense when I explain it, I promise. He is the pacemaker. To put an analogy that makes it make sense, right? To make this make sense, is that think of the heart again, right? The heart works by itself. It has something up here called, it's called, was it aortic? I don't know. just know that it has a pacemaker. A pacemaker is practically something that initiates all of it. It's like the start of a ripple. It's like the initial like little drop of water before ripples come out in like a puddle or something. So there's something here that tells the rest of the heart to beat. And he will he like practically sends a signal and airdrops it to everyone else. And then those people will airdrop it to the next section. And those people will airdrop it to the next section. But it all started because of this guy right here. Right? So he starts it and then he sends it to everywhere else. And those people will be like, oh guys, we heard from the boss. And then they send it to the next person. And that's what causes your heart to contract. That's why your heart doesn't contract in one big motion. It contracts from the top, like the upper right area, down to the bottom left. So it moves in this diagonal way, right? Now for the lungs, what happens is that this guy is the pacemaker. He says, hey, breathe. And what happens is that he tells this guy, I want to breathe. And this guy goes, oh shit, we're breathing? And then he goes all the way to the muscles. So that's what's happening here. He goes to the diaphragm. And he goes, holy shit, we need to breathe. The boss said breathe. Please breathe. And then he breathes. Wow, he contracts and he does the exact same thing we're talking about. He contracts and then he relaxes and then he breathes. So this guy is the core of it all. This guy is the core of it all. He talks to this guy and this guy talks to the rest of the body. Now, who the fuck is that? Who is that? Putting this away. This guy is called Pontine. Pontine. Respiratory. Respiratory group. I spelled out respiratory this time. I'm cursed. And he practically is very chatty. He likes to talk to everyone else all the time. And what he practically does is that he's like... Have you ever had a friend that likes to organize your stuff for you? That like kind of likes to organize, like if they notice that a book is slightly lopsided, they'll like fix it. Or like they notice like a picture frame is bent, they'll fix it. Or they'll sort the things, like if you have like a Kleenex box on your table, they'll make like the Kleenex box parallel like to the like walls of the table and stuff like that. They just like to organize things. This guy likes to make everything smooth. He does not need to actually exist. If this gets damaged, you're not in danger. He just likes to make everything smooth so that you breathe in very smoothly and you breathe out really smoothly. So he's just yapping, is practically what I'm getting at. Is that he just likes to organize things and he constantly talks to tell everyone, let's contract really smoothly. And then let's relax really smoothly. And let's oh gosh, we gotta start breathing faster. Okay, let's start breathing faster over time kind of thing. Like let's be all smooth and paced, and he just likes to be there. He likes to organize things. He likes to make things smoother. It's so that you're not going whenever you're breathing in. That wouldn't be fun. I would not like it if I breathed in to breathe in and breathe out. I like it when I go, you know? He's doing a great job. So he just likes to smooth things out. So the purple guy... I'm sorry, I'm containing myself. Okay. The purple thing in your brainstem, is the guy that causes breathing to happen. He's the one that tells when to breathe. The blue guy likes to tell everyone else, like, tell the muscles to move so you can breathe. He also takes an input from the rest of the body to say whether to breathe faster or not. And the green dude just likes to make everything smooth and nice, you know? So, the reason why we don't actually know really how this works is that... do you remember when I talked about feedback loops? And that positive feedback loops feed into themselves over and over again until something happens? Like some big event happens, and then it stops the feedback loop? Because, for example, negative feedback goes down to something, and it makes something, and then that tells this thing to stop, right? Positive feedback loops feed in over and over again. Like if I had to make an analogy, negative feedback loops is, for example, I'm thirsty, I want water. I drink water, and suddenly I'm not thirsty. Great, I've done a negative feedback loop. My body has asked me to go drink water. It's like, I'm thirsty, I don't have water, please go drink water. I go, I do the action, I drink water. Oh wow, we have more water, that's great. Could we get a couple more gulps? Okay, and you drink more water, and then your body's satisfied, and it tells you to stop. Great, you've done a negative feedback loop. Positive feedback loop? I'm sorry, my only greatest analogy is that giving birth is a positive feedback loop. Contract! Push! Push! And then the baby comes out and great. We've stopped the positive feedback loop because a big event happened and it stopped it, you know? Congratulations, you gave birth. So, practically, so practically, breathing is a positive feedback loop. But the thing is, we don't really know why it shuts off. Because what happens is I go, and then something tells me to stop breathing in and just breathe out. And part of it, people like talk about, for example, the mechanoreceptors. So something that realizes that your lungs are filled and sends feedback and says, hey, 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 stop, 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 we're gonna explode if we keep breathing in, kind of thing. But the thing is that we don't really know why the neurons just suddenly start ramping a positive feedback loop in the brain to breathe in a whole bunch. And then just suddenly stops. Because what happens is, like, for example, if I draw a chart here, right? It's like I'm breathing in, 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 and then I stop breathing in. And it waits, and then the neuron activity starts going up again, neuron activity, and then it drops. And then it goes and waits, and then it goes all the way back up. It doesn't drop this far, but there's always, like, processing happening when it comes to breathing. But can they actually explode? Yes. Your lungs can't explode if you breathe in too much, but you have mechanoreceptors that take over to stop you from doing that. Because, it's the same reason why, you can only breathe out a certain amount. Because if I was actually able to breathe out every single crumb of air that's in my lungs would collapse. Right? I can breathe out as much as I want, but something will, like, stop me from breathing out all the extra air that's in there. So, people tend to think that there's stretch receptors. And stretch receptors are practically like think of like, I have a piece of, I don't know, cloth or something. What's a good way to put this? That was the worst analogy I've thought in my life. Good God, sorry. Have you ever, like... You know what? A better analogy is a pimple. Honestly, there's probably a better analogy. If you've ever popped a pimple in your life, you have this, and then you have, like, a pore, right? You have, like, a pore here, and then you have whatever's, like, inside the pimple, is probably pus or something. And you put a whole bunch of force and pressure into, like, the skin And then suddenly, like the pore, the pore opens up and bursts practically, and the stuff comes out. Ew, right? I know, gross. But practically, that's what's happening with mechanoreceptors. Is that when you're inhaling way too much, and you're expanding your lungs and expanding your lungs, like this is a very exaggerated drawing, but something in the side of your lungs opens up practically. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Something in the cells of your lungs opens up for a brief second because of all that stretching, and it practically sends a signal to your neurons to be like, holy shit, the fucking floodgates are opening, like, stop! And then you stop, right? That's like the easiest way I can explain it, is that it causes an action potential, so it causes a signal because it opens up. Like, what's a good way to explain this? This is my signal. This has like a little message that says stop. When I put enough pressure in the lungs and it stretches out on this little curve, the message gets released and the message gets sent to the brain. Is that like a better way to talk about it? The other analogy I was thinking of for this, because this is what mechanoreceptors are, it's just like when there's enough like force happening around it or stretch, it causes it to open up and send a signal practically. But my only other analogy was like, if you've ever seen those those weird TikTok videos where they're like slicing open like a piece of rubber. I don't know how to explain it. I was just thinking of this one thing, like those TikTok videos where they have like a sock and they fill the sock with like not whipping cream, but shaving cream, and then they squish the sock, like they keep squishing the sock until the shaving cream starts coming out of the sock. I don't really know like why these exist and why I've seen them, but does anyone know what I'm talking about right now? Anyone, please don't make me feel crazy. I don't want to feel crazy, please. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Someone knows what I'm talking about. This is practically like that. Anyways, very complex little brain thing that happens here. He's great. I love the brain and I love higher processing, and I love being able to have higher processing as a human. Yay! Well, I guess you're just kind of human. Like consider me a subsector. I'll be like a, what's it called? Token human. No, not token human. What's it called? Honorary human. Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, man, we don't have time. I really wanted to talk about the hemoglobin curve. God, I love hemoglobin so much. But I don't think we have time to break down, like, specifically blood and stuff like that. And, like, oxygen retention in the blood and whatnot. Because that's really interesting. But maybe we can do that next time. Yes! Oh, man, I know. Hemoglobin's so fun to talk about. It's so interesting, but I don't think I have enough time. Because I'd have to cover it in like 30 minutes, and I feel like I can't cover all of hemoglobin in 30 minutes. People want like a crash course of me trying to explain how hemoglobin works? Crash course really quickly? Perhaps. Save it in the next stream? Okay. We'll break it down really nicely in the next stream then. We'll save it. We'll save it, I promise. Okay. Hemoglobin stream? Dude, the blood system is actually crazy. I genuinely enjoy it a lot. It's so interesting to me. I spell it hemo, like H-E-M-O. I spell it hemoglobin. Okay. Your explanation actually now, just thank you. That actually makes me so happy because I feel like I'm like, I hope I'm explaining things understandably. Next time we can talk about blood transport and oxygen in the body, because I feel like that's what people are gonna find more interesting, because that will make. I think a lot of people like biology when it comes to like exercising. I understand why. Like understanding how exercising works is like, it's super nice to understand. But I'm trying to think. Next time we can talk about how oxygen transfers in the body and the correlation between that and like for example exercise. And like kind of like CO2 and stuff like that. Maybe next time, like a while later, we'll talk about maybe we can talk about glycogen and metabolism, because I feel like that might also. The thing is that if I talk about metabolism, it's gonna be really complicated. I feel like it's gonna be really boring to listen. It's like, what is blood yapping about when I'm talking about like fructose, like like talking about like fucking what's it called? Like the connection between like breathing and like 2,3 what is it called? 2,3 bisphosphoglycerate or something like that? I forget the exact words. Not gonna lie, I only remember the acronym or the like the shorthand version. I'm sorry, I'm not writing all that down on a multiple choice question. I don't care. Hyperventilation. To break it down, basically hyperventilation happens when, well, obviously you're usually, so let's say for example you're panicking about something. Like for example in like anxiety attacks and stuff like that, people hyperventilate. And it's probably because the higher cognitive processing brain is kind of like failing its job, no offense. And this like happens to me too, like I'm flaming myself, but I'm putting myself on the front lines. But if you have something like an anxiety attack, you tend to have like higher processing that tells you like, God, it's time to freak out, like things are going haywire, like they kick in your fight and flight, which is your sympathetic system. So first off, your stuff like your bronchioles will dilate. That's what happens during a sympathetic reaction with the respiratory system. Sympathetic just means fight or flight, so I'll call it that from here on. But for those who understand the term, I'm just saying it so they can make a connection. But so when you have your fight or flight, your body's obviously going to tell you to dilate your respiratory system. So practically, we need more oxygen because we need to run. Is practically what it's trying to get to. When you have your fight or flight system going, you're practically telling your body to take in more oxygen because we need that to give it to the muscles so the muscles can run. So if you're really anxious or something like that and you feel your heart pumping faster and you feel like you're starting to breathe really fast and stuff like that, your body's just misunderstanding the situation and thinking that you need to do a fight or flight reaction in something where running actually won't help you. Unfortunately, if you have to like, I don't know, present and like do a presentation in front of your class, you unfortunately cannot just run out of the room as fast as possible. That's not going to save your grade, unfortunately. So you kind of do have to confront the situation. But obviously you have, you know, primitive processing in your brain stored somewhere back there that causes that to happen. So practically what happens with hyperventilation is that technically, so shorter breaths are technically sometimes more efficient. But take this with a grain of salt, is that when I say that they're more efficient, you have to be breathing a certain amount of air for it to be technically more efficient. So you could technically be doing shorter breaths per minute with a certain amount of volume in your lungs and be getting more oxygen per minute than taking long, slow breaths. Now, the confusion that happens in the brain that I can explain about hyperventilation and why people pass out because of it is that your body has something called stale air. There's a certain amount of air that sits in your lungs that just It doesn't have oxygen. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there. And when you breathe really fast and super short, you're not doing a big enough breath, quote unquote, to get air mixing in your body, so you're not just breathing in a whole bunch of stale air. So if you do really fast, really super fast, super short and shallow breaths, you're not actually getting any air into the lungs properly. You're just making yourself pass out. So your brain is technically trying to make you breathe faster so you can get more oxygen to the lungs. But if it overstimulates yourself and like tells you to like breathe fast, breathe fast, breathe fast, and then you breathe in way too fast, nothing is actually really getting into the body. Because you're doing it way too quickly. There's like a certain set amount. It's a curve, right? Like you can breathe, like, let's say like this is like my curve here. And this is like me. Like, this is me breathing faster, and this is my, like, okay. What's a good way? Pace? Like, let's say breaths per minute. And this is O2 levels. Right? So, this is a kind of poor way of writing it, because breaths per minute technically shouldn't just fall randomly, but it's also like breaths per minute plus you're also doing it you're doing like big breaths to shallow breaths. Shallow. So this is breaths per minute, but the faster you breathe, the more shallow your breaths get, right? I'm trying to illustrate it. This is kind of scuffed, but faster breathing, shallower breaths. Slowest breathing, but bigger breaths, right? We're comparing, like, what is the most efficient way to breathe? Now, technically, your oxygen levels, if you breathe pretty fast, right? And this is, okay, again, this is not taking into account energy at all either. So we're completely avoiding the fact that breathing faster also takes more energy. Because you're not doing like a non-cognitive, like I guess like a passive process anymore. So let's say like you have this curve, and this is about as efficient as you can get if I didn't have to take into account energy, right? Can you breathe deep and fast? Not really. It's like it's nearly impossible, because think of like how your muscles have to contract. There's only a certain pace that your muscles can move fastest before it can't move any faster, right? So what happens is that like it's another graph you could consider oversaturation. So this is what happens like IRL all the time. There's only a certain like amount that your muscles can move before it just plateaus. So it's kind of like this, and then it just can't move any faster. This is the fastest that it can move. Let's say this is like speed, right? Oh god, speed. Good lord. Speed and or actually yeah, speed, and let's say like I can't really say muscle movement here because your muscle movement would just stop at some point, but like oh, let's just call it neuron activation. Activation. And let's call this muscle speed, right? Right? So eventually your muscle speed will cap at some point. This is the absolute fastest the body can ever like move in terms of like literally action potentials, you know? Like things in your neurons. It'll reach a max at some point. No matter how much your neurons fire and tell your muscles to move, your muscles can only move so fast, right? It's like if you're sprinting literally the fastest you could possibly sprint, and then someone goes, well, go faster. Well, it's like, no, my legs can't really move faster because gravity isn't gonna pull on my legs harder and bring it to the floor. At some point, I'm just at my max speed. That's what happens with even like the tiniest muscles you have. There's a max pace that it can move. So that's why you can't do big, like deep, short breaths. Because your lungs can only move so quickly and your diaphragm can only move so quickly. To the point where it literally can't move any faster. Which is why it's hard to, like, and again, this goes back to volume. If I can't move the volume as quickly as I want, then there's no pressure gradient, and because there's no pressure gradient, there's no oxygen reaching my lungs, and all that kind of stuff, right? That's So for this is, I'm gonna draw a line here, so, okay. So this is my deep, like, slow breaths. This is like my shallow, quick breaths, right? I feel like this is a very poor graph. I feel like I drew poorly because it wouldn't fall, like, it wouldn't hard drop. It would be more so like, it'd be more like that. Where there's like an optimum position where you're breathing like the specific amount. Let's say this is probably your regulatory, like your regular pace, for example. Like probably like around here. Like it's probably not too far off, but it's probably not at the exact optimum pace. But this is the exact optimum pace. Now the reason why your body might not do the exact optimum pace, and this isn't like, this is not fact checked by the way, I don't know if the body naturally does the most optimum pace for breathing. I want to say I highly doubt it, because this probably takes a lot of, and the reason why optimum pace would not be matched by the body is because it takes energy. Your body wants to also conserve energy at the same time. The most important, the brain is the king. The brain gets all the energy. So your body isn't going to exert more energy just to optimize breathing if the brain needs the energy more. Right? He is a glucose eater. He loves glucose. He loves sugar. So your body isn't just going to give your lungs a whole bunch of extra sugar if the brain needs it all the time. So that's probably why I'd assume if the body isn't, again, unconfirmed theory. I do not know if the lungs are doing the most optimum like pacing or not. They might be, and if they are, God, the body is crazy and beautiful. But right now, I'd assume that it isn't actually, because that's the case for a lot of things. Like for example, hemoglobin does not just drop oxygen specifically at muscles perfectly. It has like a safeguard, if anything, and we can get into that later. Which is what makes it so crazy. Practically is that there's a decline here. And eventually you're going to get at a low enough decline if you breathe super duper fast and you're hyperventilating over here. To the point where you're literally just not getting enough oxygen. Let's say the quota of oxygen is like right here. Like, I don't know, let's say it's like right here, right? This is the quota for like normal amounts of oxygen for your body to function properly. If you are breathing at this pace, and you're this much below the quota here, then your body is probably going to freak out a little. You're not getting enough oxygen, it's not reaching like your brain and stuff like that, or whatnot. Like let's say you're hyperventilating really bad, where it's like at the point that you might pass out kind of thing. And you're all the way down there. That's practically how hyperventilation, if I could explain it, kind of works. Is that you are leaving like the efficient zone. You're like, your body is like, is sending too many signals and telling your body to panic too much. That your body is misinterpreting those signals and doing the unoptimized path, almost. Do that? Because I tell you to breathe into a paper bag? Well, weirdly enough, if your pH drops, your body tells you to breathe faster. So I don't really know what the whole paper bag thing is. I think the paper bag is more so pacing, if anything. Because pH should drop. pH and CO2 should drop. Like, it should make you breathe faster. Technically. Yes. Is that somewhat understandable, kind of? About like for example, your muscles speed, like when you move around and stuff, is probably at like a very unoptimal spot. Like they are not going to overwork themselves all the time. Unless you're in a fight or flight situation, this is when your neuron activation goes crazy and your body wants your muscles to work as fast as possible. So fight or flight situation, your body tells it like breathe faster, and it starts moving this way. But then we miss that exact line we were actually wanting to be at, and we overshoot it, and now we're like badly hyperventilating, right? Kind of understandable, a little understandable. kind of. Ah, I hope it was somewhat helpful. Ah. Oh my gosh, I'm waiting for 35k to happen. Sorry, we're like 17 followers. No followers? Question mark. We're 17 subs away from 35k, and then that's when we actually I think if we actually hit it faster than I want to. Oh my god! Actually, I want to do my event in like April. I think I actually. Whoa, wait. Maybe I do it in March. I could do it in mid-March. Mid-March. That would work. 35k? Do you think we hit 35k by mid-March? Because it would be perfect. I'd be like, yeah, celebrating 35k for a WWE event. Haha, smile. Oh no, I didn't realize you guys can't see the bottom of this graph. Here, sorry. Oopsies. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Okay. So, how are we feeling? Did we learn something cool today? I know today was kind of more of like a blob of just information, and not really more like kind of like applicable things, if that makes sense. But I hope it was at least like noise. Like stuff that was applicable, at least in some sort of sense. Clear this by being sick? Take care of our bodies and health, of course. Most importantly, of course. Alright. Oh. I think I can... Wait. I'm gonna test something, wait. I wonder if it will work. God, I hope it works. I hope it works, or else I'm gonna have to like... Okay, please work. It'll be so funny if it works. Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay. Please work. It'll be so funny. No! Oh god. Oh, I'm so upset. It won't work. Wait, let me... I think I can just... Oh, I'm trying the hand tracking stuff off. I so badly want to do this really stupid thing just for fun. Just for the funsies of it. Where is it? Where do I change it again? I forget. Is it here? Oh, here! Okay. Whoa! Oh my god, I'm in the wall! Okay. Let me... Wait. It'll be so worth it. I promise you everything I'm doing right now is gonna be so worth it. Oh, okay. I'm still in the wall. Give me a second. Yeah? Oh my god, I'm floating in the wall. What the hell? Let me just... Okay. I promise you this is all worth it. I promise you. You have to trust me. Do you trust me? Okay, perfect. This is literally all I wanted to do. This is all. We learned something, yeah, baby. Let's go, yeah. Wow. That's literally it. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah. Hi. Mm. That's practically it. So I'm just sitting here now. I'm just power stancing, if you will. I can like, dude. Do you guys know how many of these? I don't really have anything to say except that I enjoyed your today's stream. I hope that you'll have more biology nerd streams in the future. It was so fun. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, thank you. Are you trying to arm wrestle us? No. I'm just having a field day right now. I found out there's a billion poses in this that I can do. So I can like I can just pose over and over again. It's great. So yeah. That's practically what I've discovered as of recently. The hand stealing? Dude, I can do so many. Oh my god, it's crazy. I can do like a walk animation. It's like, hey man, how's it going? I could put myself in a thing and I could just walk forever. I could just walk around in like a world. Hey dude, what's going on? I've been enjoying this too much. This is what I was doing that one day when I was talking in the Discord. And I was just like fooling around with a bunch of stuff. Practically this. Like I can do like a cat pose. This is crazy. This is insane. Who made all these? Anyways, I had a lot of fun with this. Hello, Gordon. There's something. Let me see it. I wonder if it's gonna work. If I want to test something, but I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. I want it to be a surprise for later. This is our secret. I'll test it later. I'll test it later. Why do we have to wear these ridiculous ties? Zion! Hi! Hello! Hi, Zion. Wait. There's still... I swear there has to be a wave. There has to be a wave. Wait. I don't think I... Here, wait. Can I like... Yay! Hi! I can do a wave! Hello! Hi. Hi, haters, hi! You were doing a, what is it? You guys were doing a... What is it called again? A membership stream, right? Yeah. I'm a genius! Yeah, baby! But hello. I've just been fooling around with my model now. We just finished up talking about the lungs and stuff, so if you really want to hear about me ranting about the lungs and like random stuff that happens with the lungs, you can go back for that. But otherwise, yeah, we're just kind of hanging out now. Hello, hi Zion. There you go. How is that? How was that? Was it good? Was it good? Was it good? Well, I still have to like set up my my full body tracking stuff for this. Well, hello. Hi. Okay. Alright. introduce myself. Hi, my name is Solari from Venia Gen 3 Oracle. I am the sleepiest sun dragon. Also, I'm a huge biology nerd if you like biology by any chance. And for those who don't know who Sion is, this is Miss Sion Heart. She is my gen mate. She's a lovely lady. If you like cozy games, you should totally check her out. Otherwise, yeah, baby. Anyways, I say hi. How are you going? Sorry, I'm just kind of distracted now. I feel so weird that I can like. Hey man, hey pal, how's it going, buddy? Don't worry, be not afraid. I am just a gooba. Goobas cannot hurt people. Kind of, not really, but whatever helps you sleep at night. It's okay. Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is too much fun. This is too much fun. You should have. I'm sorry. I'm just curious about what's going on. Oh, I'm resized. What the hell? What the hell? Gordon. Next, I'm gonna get a lab coat. Oh my god. Dude, the science team, dude. God, how are you guys liking Bioshock, by the way? For those who haven't played or seen it. Fun? So cute. Oh, thank you. Hello. Super fun one? Yeah. Bioshock is fun. I can't wait to watch you play it. Dude, Bioshock is so great. I've been enjoying it so much. Sorry, I'm like so distracted. This happens every time I stop, like I finish up a stream. I like turn into like 3 collective brain cells and I start like staring around, looking for the voices. I was yeah. You might wanna speaking of Miss Cyan Heart. You might wanna look out in the future. I don't know if she's actually shown it yet, but did that work? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You may see my art in the future? Question mark. So, they saw a preview. Oh, just waiting on staff. Oh my god! Don't tell staff. Don't tell staff. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. If they ask who made that, that was not me. That was not me. That was not me. Guys, please. If staff asks anyone, it was not me. It was not me. Look, if they get mad, come on. Look, no way they can get mad at me. They can't. They really can't. They can't be mad at me because they've been putting Kokone Senpai's boobies in captions, or not captions, in thumbnails. Yeah, that's what I thought. They can't be mad at me. I am just an artist doing my artist work. There's no way they can get upset at me. The membership until they upload it, Suri. Okay, chill. totally not the one who draws in that art style. No. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. It wasn't me. Nuh-uh. It was not me. You can't tell me it was me. Say it again. I'm joking. He's so cute. Thank you. See, I can do nothing wrong. Wait, I'm sorry. I read something in the Discord. Okay, guys. This is so addicting. But I read California Girls in the Discord. And I just guys, you don't understand how addicting this application is. I love this so much. Okay, I'll behave. I promise. Like, I can't help myself. Wait, back up. We need a gift. No, we'll save it. It's okay. On rare occasion. I still have to figure out if I can fix the colliders in the dress. So I don't wanna panty shot anyone. That is not on my to-do list. So we're trying to reel that back. But yes. Anyways, there's so many of these. I'm so addicted to all of these. There's so many. Sion, I need to show you this app at some point. It's so good. Oh my god. Sugar pills. Oh god, sugar pills is gonna be stuck in my head. Okay. So. What is happening tomorrow? Do you guys remember? Do you remember? What is happening tomorrow? What's happening tomorrow? On this channel! What's happening? Hello? Big collab? Showdown? Practically. We're having a collab here! Oracle anniversary! I've been here for 6 months! Wow! 6 months. God damn. It's been half a year already. Holy shit. Oh god, I feel old. Oh no. Okay. So, basically, on this channel, I'll put up the thumbnail probably tomorrow. But, this channel, 2 PM PST, we're having the Oracle anniversary. 6-month anniversary, I should say. 6 months. Yes. What is happening? Woo! Oh my god, I'm so excited for the PowerPoint stuff. Oh my god. But yes. We are having our 6-month anniversary. Be there. Or I find you. I go in your walls. You see me. You've seen me do it. I will be in your walls. But yes. He'll steal your kneecaps if you don't show up. We're gonna find you. Do best. You watch all of us like kind of low-key roast each other. It'll be really funny, I promise. Right? after that, guess what's coming up? In about 2 weeks. Birthday! Yeah! It's my birthday in like a little more than 2 weeks. So, I'm going to be having a donathon. 5-day donathon. Can you believe it? That's a lot of days. There's a lot of days of Suri. There's a lot of Suri days. Happy birthday, Suri! It's not my birthday yet, silly. Later is my birthday. My birthday's gonna be later. It's okay. So, I'm expecting a lot of presents. I'm kidding. Please don't worry about it. I'm expecting my own country. Hello, we talked about this, guys. Pitch and money. Hello, we need to take over a country. It's gonna be mine now. I vote that we start taking over. What's a good place to take over? Texas is breaking off from the U.S. soon. I will take over Texas, and it will become Syrian. Not a present. I don't know how to say your name, so I'm gonna say KR. KR. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the not present. I appreciate it. I'll put it in the not present pile. It's gonna be mine now. So, yeah, we're having our own country now. Basically. Let me think. I think practically that's it. I will release applications for what is it? For one of the events that we're doing during the Donathon. I'll probably release it sometime this week for people to fill in. I'll probably release it like a week before the event. So look out for that. Otherwise, my name is Suri Solari, and you just tuned into Suri Solari's channel. Congratulations. Yes. That's practically what I can say. Congratulations, you've done it. What do you think? Wait. Wait, let me check something. If I go here... Oh, okay, that does switch it for you. What the heck? What is this? I wanted to check something. What is this? Oh, wait, it doesn't switch it for you. Wait, are you guys... Wait, testing something. If I do this... Do you guys still see me? Is it just me? Do you still see me? Is it... Do you see Suri? We see you? Okay, nothing has changed? I'm not moving around or anything? I'm sorry. I know this sounds like the voices. I promise you it'll be worth it. I promise you. You're just staring? Okay, good. Okay. Why isn't any of this showing here? What the? Okay, wait. Okay, I'll try it a different time. I want to try something, but I'm too nervous to try right now, okay? I'm too nervous. I wanna make sure it works perfectly when I do it. There's a bit I'm holding on to. There's a bit that I'm holding on to that I will eventually show you guys. I promise. What if it doesn't work? Like, oh. What if, okay, wait, let me check something. Oh, wait, guys. Okay, wait, I can fix this. Alright. This is perfect. It's working. Wait, I just need this. Okay, guys. I promise this is worth your while, and I'm going to have to mute the end of the VOD because of this, just because I want to pull off a fucking bit. That is literally that is the reason. Like, I'm going to have to mute part of the VOD after this, but like, I promise you, it's so worth it. I've literally been planning for this. Okay, wait. Hold your horses, don't go anywhere, please. I promise you it's worth your while if you just wait for like 2 more seconds. Okay. Wait. Don't worry about what I'm doing right now, by the way. Horses held? Okay, good. Alright. Okay. Good. Okay. Alright. I promise this is worth it. We're green? Yeah, we are green now. Hello, everybody. I promise this is an important message. I need to tell you something. You need to stay low. I need you to turn the console off. I need you to turn the console off. I need you to turn the stream off. The stream is ending. You need to leave soon. Okay? Alright. So, basically, my entire bit was literally just this to end the stream. This is what I was talking about before. Yeah. I've been having too much fun. As of recently. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the bit. I'll probably do something like this. More often around the 3D model. Anyways, chat, please. I need you to listen to me. You need to close the stream. You need to close the stream. Chat? Alright. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys take care. I hope you guys enjoyed my bit. Maybe one day we'll do a like chatting stream. A chatting stream? Through this. I think it would be silly. Although, you know, the subtitles are probably not the most accurate all the time, but it's pretty accurate, at least so far, but you know. Alright. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to what is it? Make sure to eat, drink water, get some rest if it's appropriate time for you. Oh god. Make sure to, of course, praise the sun. And thank you guys for listening in. I'm gonna have to mute the end of the VOD now. Whoa, that did not track that well. But thank you guys so much. Alright, let's find someone to raid. Oh, you know what? Let's raid the Muse one and only Bewitching Witch. I believe that she is playing Lethal Company right now. Lethal company? Legal. It's okay. Alright. Thank you guys. Make sure to take care. Thank you for tuning in. I'll probably have more bits like this now that I have the liberty to. And bye bye. Take care. I'll tell you later. Bye bye. 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 Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. 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 Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. 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 Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you guys tomorrow. Don't forget. Anniversary tomorrow. Anniversary. Yes. You have to be there. You've been invited. You have to go now. And don't forget. Snake. My birthday. My birthday is in 2 weeks. See you later. Bye bye.